And there is a very good work done by Davidson, Luntz, and some other author, which I will send you the reference by email, but basically that divides the different kind of meditation techniques into three major areas, which are the concentration techniques, the what they call open presence techniques, and what they call the non-referential loving kindness techniques. So we are going, and the student is going to learn, and we are teaching the student techniques of each of these three major, groups of techniques that exist throughout the world. Concentration techniques are based on having an object where you put your attention, and you use this object where you put your attention to keep your attention here and now, being aware of the rest of the objects, but you keep the attention in that object to keep the mind fixed on that object, so that the rest of objects that appear on your conscious mind, you just let them go. And we have visual objects, auditive objects, and sensory objects. We teach a visual object technique, which is Tratak. We teach auditive object technique, which is Mantra. And we teach a sensory object technique, which will be what it's called Anapana meditation, or with your breathing. And pranayamas, and the different pranayamas, etc. I will not get into detail of all the different techniques that we teach, because, this is all for teachers, so you know very well the different techniques that we teach. But for you to understand that these are concentration techniques. We then teach open presence techniques. Amongst the open presence techniques, open presence, basically the word says it very clearly, is keep yourself present and open to the moment you are living, which will be related to what you are feeling, what you are thinking, and what you are doing at that very moment. Because during a day, the three yogas, or the three things, actions, feelings, and thoughts, are running in parallel and defining the expression of your individuality that day. So, all the practical philosophy teachings that includes the practices of Auntie Matilda, which is, for example, if Auntie Matilda has given you a bad word that morning, and you start Auntie Matilda, Auntie Matilda, Auntie Matilda, and you realize that you've been 15 minutes thinking badly about Auntie Matilda, well, you can spend the next 16 minutes thinking well about Auntie Matilda. In other words, you are applying certain practical philosophy, and in his satsangs, Guru Raj taught from how to shave to how to smoke a cigarette, including. So you have hundreds of different techniques that Guruji taught to keep your presence in the day that you are living, moment by moment, without judging that moment, which is one of the definitions that is given these days about mindfulness. So here we have lots of techniques, and here, is where we extract these techniques from the contents of the hundreds of satsangs that are there with these techniques explained. Throughout this series of videos, because today I'm just doing a general introduction, I will go into detail of all the different practical philosophy techniques that we teach as part of the program that we run in Spain. And I will go into detail of how we teach Tratak and how we teach mantra. Obviously, we teach the prep mantra, the individual mantra, the different techniques like mandala, prep mandala, advanced mandala, etc., etc. So here, we can say that here, if we would be speaking market-wise, from a market-wise approach, here we are very powerful, because nobody has a set of techniques well designed that deal with all these things in the way we have. We have here hundreds of different techniques, from Yoga Nidra to this, to that, to positive affirmation, you name it. We have hundreds of techniques, of open present techniques, and non-referential loving kindness techniques. Well, here is where the scientists get the game wrong, because they are very wary about what has been always called devotional practices. Non-referential loving kindness means all those practices that are there to kind of wake up your heart, wake up the feelings of your heart. It's the gospel. Going to a gospel, to speak to an American, no? Going to a gospel is a devotional practice. Singing to the Lord, devoting yourself to the Lord, etc., are devotional practices, which are, if you excite your heart, you come out. When you love someone, you tend to love everybody, no? When you are in love, if you can remember, when you were in love, when you were young, and you were innocently in love of someone, and everybody looks good to you. In fact, you love everybody. So once you develop love to one object, it immediately expands to the rest of the objects. Now, the academics, they use what they call the secure attachment, and the secure attachment is this teacher that you had, or this mentor, or this coach, or you name it, that made you feel good, that made you feel a person, and then you use that person to recall that feeling within yourself, and then you wish that that feeling is for yourself and for everybody. They call this the metta meditation. But basically, what is the essence of these techniques is learning to love God. The most secure of all attachments is God. And you don't need to believe in God, because you can invent God if you don't believe in one. You can make up a God, like the Hindus. They make up a God easily. I will get into detail of how we teach Guru Shakti, which is basically the non-referential loving kindness technique that we teach, which is very, very important, and that in fact makes the 60% of what is needed to make this discipline do its work. Okay?